Hey guys, Anthony, Full Before Diesel. Just a quick discussion about, you've got this problem at the moment, your next service is due, or is it? Okay, so let's have a look at that. Next service due, date or kilometres. Okay, interesting. Okay, date or kilometres. So we've got this problem at the moment, probably around the world, so a little bit of a focus on that, but we're obviously here in Australia, so we're sort of focusing there a little bit too. So we've got a situation where people are either locked down or almost locked down, or they might be saying only essential travel and, you know, don't do non-essential travel and all this sort of talk. So there's a lot of places you're not allowed to go, a lot of traveling you're not doing. There's sometimes a number of vehicles per household depending where you are, and perhaps one will do the job and the other one or two or three or what your collection is just sits there. So there's a couple of things to take into consideration. A is your vehicle under warranty? Because if it is, you do need to service it as per the schedule, kind of like within reason, whatever they say. If it's not within warranty, well then it's a little bit different. So we'll try and cover both. So let's say your situation is you've got a fairly new Toyota Camry like this one here, or you've got a fairly new Toyota RAV4 or a new Prado, whatever the case may be, and they're asking for it to be serviced at, you know, your next service due at X date, which could be, mostly it varies from book to book, car to car, but let's say it's 6 months. I'd suggest 6 months should be the longest anyway, but excuse me, a bit of COVID-19 maybe. No, I don't think so, but you know, always a little bit too much talk. Anyway, 6 months or 10,000 kilometres is the popular one. Let's not stretch it out to 9 months, 12 months and the 15s like they do. 6 months, 10,000 Ks. Oils ain't oils. Maybe they are oils, but anyway, that's another story. What do you do? Okay, so you've done 1,000 Ks, 2,000 Ks since your last service at 10,000 Ks, and it's been 6 months. And they're saying it's due for your next service, and they want to bring it in, and they're going to stamp the book at 20,000 Ks, but the car hasn't done 20,000 Ks. What do you do? Well, you've kind of got to get it serviced. In that situation with a warranty, perhaps talk to the manufacturer or talk to those dealers, and they're probably going to tell you, oh, you know, you've got to get it done anyway. But if we can be reasonable about it, you don't actually need to service the vehicle. When you service the vehicle, it's one simple word used for quite a large task. We're talking about a motor vehicle. What happens on it, bumper to bumper, from one end to the other? There's so many different things that do need to be checked and adjusted and whatever, but not so much really these days. Not so much, particularly when the car's new. Let's use some examples. Okay, so at the 10,000 K service, the only thing that's going to get replaced, it's going to have a check over. It's fairly important, the first couple of services, in case something was missed at factory, but it's not going to happen. It's a Toyota. So if you've got other makes and models, good luck with that. With the quality vehicles, generally things aren't missed. Should have been picked up at PD. It can get picked up at the 1,000 K inspection. It can get picked up at the 10,000. After that, look, those things, it's just oil, okay? Now, oil is the thing, it's the most important thing that we want to change by time. And I've mentioned this before in other videos. Your air filter, it's not going to depreciate. It doesn't matter how old it is. Look, if we're talking 5 or 10 years old, maybe the paper deteriorates and you need to change it. It's sort of falling apart, rotting away, deterioration. Like everything came from the earth and it's going back to the earth, right? So everything's got a date on it, a use by date, when it's headed back, when it starts heading back, and when it's, you know, when something's completely broken down, gone, well then it's gone, right? So the date on an air filter might start from being 3, 4, 5 years old. Of course, you don't want to leave an air filter in there that long, okay? But this is a general thing. We're talking a 6 to 12 month thing, you know, just for the sake of the discussion. Your fuel filters aren't really going to deteriorate. Your air filters aren't going to deteriorate. Nothing is going to deteriorate. Nothing needs to be checked. These are the things that need to be checked, really, regardless of whether it's in warranty or not. I'm not telling you that this is going to cover you if you're under warranty if you do these things, but I'm telling you it should. This is fact, okay? Your engine oil. You need to change the engine oil. I don't care if it's done 1,000 Ks, if it's been sitting there 6 months, you need to change the oil. Now, it's probably not that important if it's only done 1,000 Ks. It's more important when the vehicle's done 5 or 6 or 7,000 Ks and it's got a lot of those contaminants in it, you know, like the byproducts from burning the fuel that blows past the rings type thing. Okay, so that's what contaminates the oil. The oil, then what's in the oil, that's what sort of, you know, can attack your seals and gaskets and stuff. So oil, engine oil, we're talking in particular. You know, they say transmissions are sealed for life and stuff like that, so they can't tell you that needs changing, or your diff oils need changing. Your diff oils, yeah, they can sit there for years. I don't care, right? They're not going to wear. When you start moving your car, the oil gets onto the surfaces, it's already on there, it's soaking in oil. An engine's different, it's all draining down to the bottom, okay? Every time you restart a cold engine, all these short trips, if you're just going to the shops and back, or you're not even going to school, where are you going? But look, you know, all these short trips, not good. So ideally, you do want to give it a run once a week for your batteries, for your tyres, for your engine, your oil, everything. You probably want to get it out, get out on the highway if you can, and give it a good 20, 30K run once a week is the best thing you can do. Get the oil changed. If you can negotiate with your manufacturers and say, look, I don't want to have if this goes on, look, the way we are in Australia at the moment, particularly in Victoria, we're kind of like lockdown, don't do this, don't do that. We've got minimal cases. If we don't change something now, we're going to be like this forever, okay? So the day that it comes down to the low amount of cases, which we've been that way for a week or two now, so this is a little bit off topic, but, you know, straight away we can start, you know, there's no point having restrictions that stop us from doing things that are perfectly safe, because it just makes people do things that aren't safe. Anyway, that's another story. What I'm trying to say is, get it out. Hopefully soon you'll even be allowed to do this, but let's say you need to go to that shop a bit further away because this shop didn't have toilet paper, whatever. You're not going to hurt anyone. You're not going to get COVID-19 driving in your motor vehicle. Drive carefully as always. Don't go driving around all day every day, but once a week, go to that shop a bit further away to get your toilet paper because the local one didn't have it, right? Give it a run. The things you need to check, tyre pressures. Tyres can go down, okay, just sitting around over time, tyres can go down. Not usually too bad these days, they're pretty good, but tyre pressures need to be checked. Oil needs to be changed. There's basically nothing else. Batteries need to be maintained. I've done other videos on this. You need to keep the battery maintained. If you've got anything draining power on your battery, not good. The best way to keep a battery is full, okay? The battery needs to be kept full. If you're not driving the car for a week, certainly you should have it on a charger, okay? We've talked about what chargers in other videos. So you want to negotiate with your manufacturer, dealer, whatever the case may be, and say, look, the car's done 10,000 Ks, you had the service, it's 6 months now, it's only done 11. It would be stupid to do the 20,000 at 11. And if this goes on for another 6 months, then what are we going to do? The 30,000 at 12? And you start replacing all these components that really wear by kilometres, right? By use, not age. So I'll say it again, the only things that need to be maintained and looked at by age, if the vehicle's not being used, is tyre pressures, engine oil changes, look after your battery. They're your three main things. Naturally check all your levels, but they're not going to change, they're not going to go anywhere. Another important thing that some manufacturers put by kilometres, but it's actually by time. But if you do the right kilometres can catch it in time, like maybe every 40,000 Ks is the torque they use, based on what they think you're going to do. Brake fluid is hygroscopic, okay? Hygroscopic, which means it absorbs moisture, okay? It absorbs moisture. Water goes to it, absorbs into it. It breaks it down, like it will become water in the end, right? So brake fluid, you always wash off with water. You don't wipe it with a rag because it'll stay on the surface and it'll damage the paintwork, okay? So never wipe brake fluid off, always wash it with water. Do not ever get water anywhere in or near your brake fluid system, okay? New capped bottles only. Brake fluid should be changed approximately every 2 years. Now that's another can of worms because it absorbs moisture over time. So the better you want the brake fluid, the sooner, more often you do it, every 6 months, every 1 year, every 18 months, okay? But if you let it go 3 years, doesn't mean your brakes are going to stop working, but it's going to have a lower boiling point. We're getting into this one too much in this video, but I just want to point out that's the other thing. It's not going to happen, you know, I'm just trying to cover myself and tell you that there are a few things that need to be done by time. An air filter is not going to get dirty by sitting there. I hope you understand what I mean. Or a fuel filter. Your diff oil doesn't matter. It doesn't deteriorate. It hasn't got contaminants in it like the engine oil does. Okay? So petrol or diesel, whatever engine, I don't care if it's your lawnmower, anything, your motorbikes, get out there, do some maintenance, change your oil. That's what you need to do. If you're outside warranty, that's all you need to do, okay? Change the oil every 6 months, okay? Maybe even a bit less, even if it hasn't done the case, but it's more important that oil's in good quality to protect your engine on startup, and so that it leaves that zinc that's a product in the oil, you know, additive packs that protect those surfaces. That's like, you know, the Castrol Magnatec, right? What they call it, it's like lots of things, gimmicky names, okay? It's the zinc that coats the surfaces that protect the engine on those cold starts. Try not to do lots of cold start. Don't go, I need to give it a run and start it up and let it sit there and idle for 20 minutes. Idling's not good. It's not good for the environment. It's not good for the engine. It's not good for anything. So start it up, let it idle for a minute or two, like usual if you can, and then nicely, you don't go out and thrash it straight away either. And that leads me to the next little bit of information. We're going to do a video on the old Italian tuner. Well, that's what they call it. I don't know what's Italian about it really, but I think we know, but you know, the old Italian tune-up. So we'll have a video on that and what we believe and what we've seen, how much it does and doesn't help, and when you should do it, and exactly what is it. But anyway, guys, hopefully you understand where I'm getting at with this service schedule. It's a bit of a problem because you're probably getting text messages from your dealerships saying, hey, you need to get this service done, and you're sort of thinking, hey, it's not even halfway to those kilometers. It's untidy, it messes up the book, it replaces components at the wrong time. You could be going in for your 20, 30, 40 and 50,000 K services at 13,000, 16,000, 17,000 and 21,000. You're going to get all these components replaced that need to be done by kilometers, not time. It's a big mess. So there's an extra area in the back of the book that allows for additional services. So when you negotiate, if you're still watching, good on you for the people that hung around. If you're still watching, listening, it's more listening because watching, there's nothing happening here. You can see a Camry and a Prado over there and not much else, tool trolley. I'll show you something else. Here you go. This is not a bad price, okay? So if it's a Toyota, you can go buy the genuine Toyota motor oil, maybe change it yourself. There's your evidence that the oil's been changed, okay? You want to buy better oil, you can go buy, I'm not promoting Newline or anything, but when this stuff goes on special, this is pretty good, full synthetic oil. Suits a lot of petrol vehicles these days, but anyway, sticker. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is, you need to say to them, please, if you're going to do my 20,000 service at 15,000, can you do me a favour and just fill out that extra service coupon in the back, right? Let's just call it a really minor service. What I'd like you to do is a quick 10-minute check over, just change the oil, don't even change the filter. Now, some people disagree with that. Now, I'll explain to you my thinking behind that. Oil filters can last a lot longer than 10,000 Ks, okay? 10,000 miles, for example, in other countries. So there's no point, if it's sitting around, it's not going to make any difference. And if you think, oh, but what about the little bit of oil that's left in there? There's more oil in the engine than what's in the oil filter. If you're changing your oil filter at 5,000 Ks or any time before the standard recommended schedule, you're wasting money and you're wasting the environment because you just don't need to. It's a waste of a product, okay? And we want to be careful we're not being too much like that with oil as well, right? Although, if you return oil to the recycling centre, it normally gets recycled and reused anyway. Therefore, it's good for the economy. So, happy days. Reuse it, clean it, gets cleaned, right? Anyway, so that's what you want to do. That's what those areas in the extra book for. That's how we roll at the Prado Hospital. If we're going to do someone's service, look, it's been sitting around 6 months, I've only done 3,000 Ks. I'm not filling out all your messing up your book. We're going to fill out those extra services. We'll put the date, the kilometres, we'll write oil or oil and filter or oil and air. Whatever we've done, we're going to write it in there, and we're going to keep those bigger things like your diff oils, your fuel filters, your air filters, cabin filters, the bigger things that come up every now and then. We're saving those for when they're due. And if everybody does the same thing, then we know what's been done. We know the air filter's been done every 30,000. We know the fuel filter's been done every 20 or every 40, whatever the schedule is, or whatever schedule you decide, or whatever schedule I've decided from our information and experience that you're rolling with, like on the Prados, the rear fuel filter every 20,000, the under bonnet one every 40,000. Stick to it. Okay, the under bonnet one, you might want to change that every, here we go. I like to change mine once a year, to be honest. So it might not go 40,000, depends, you know, what trips. As I've said before in other videos, I like to change the under bonnet fuel filter on a diesel after every big trip. So I'll take a spare filter, do at least one big trip every year, the biggest trip. After that trip, assuming we're not going to use it because we change our filters regularly, we've got our spare. When we get back, clean up the car, go through everything, including changing that fuel filter. So once a year, but you don't have to do that. If you're doing 20,000 Ks a year and you're not doing many off-road trips, you just change your fuel filter every 2 years. That's fine. Okay, guys, I hope this helps. That's long enough, isn't it? 15 minutes. Like always, give us a thumbs up if you found it helpful. If you haven't already subscribed, we're going to have even more better information coming your way. Check out the other videos. Bada bing, bada boom. Thanks for watching. See ya.